Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justin Davis from Drone Camps RC. You're going to see a lot of new drones coming out each week. We're going to release new videos. If you're new to this channel, please do subscribe because we have tons and tons of new content for tutorials and beginner videos, as well as some of the more advanced drones coming out to us. Also click on our Instagram and follow us there because I'm going to post new pictures of things as they come in the door, so you can kind of get a sneak peek of what's coming up. So today what I have, super cool. I'm super excited that I got this. This is from my friends over at gearbest.com. You can check them out in the link below. This is the advanced version of the 501S. It has a super cool controller on here with a built-in screen. You've got all kinds of telemetry on here. You got follow me, return to home, GPS, headless mode, a really nice patch antenna on here for super clean video way out there. I tested it out to about 900 meters. And did some return to home cool stuff with it. Tested out the video camera and some other features on here. So I got the black edition, as you can see here. Really nice black and gold. You can also get a white version as well. I kind of like this black one. We already had a white one to check out, and I really did like the gold motors on these. Look really nice. So we'll go outside now. We'll fly this one for you, and I'll show you some of the features of the 501S Advanced. Coming right up. Okay guys, we're outside now with the H501S. This is the upgraded version. Upgraded, they mean the transmitter. There's not much difference in the copter, if any. I don't believe there's any difference in the copter versus the other version, which is the non-upgraded version, the H501S. This one looks to have all the same features. I added XT60s on here because I like the XT60 for my transmitter. And I did get a little solder burn there on the back of the copter, but that's not any problem. I can still close the door. I've got my battery in there. And really quickly before we take off, I labeled my transmitter. I left these plastic covers on there, kind of soft silicone covers. I do like those, feel good on my hands, and kind of help me fly a little better. I think they're pretty nice to keep on there. They also come with rubber covers that come on top of the switches, but that's not a big deal. I just took those off. And I have my labels on here. I'll show you those in the studio when we get back. You want to have these two down, and you want to have the A one switch down here. You want to have GPS up because that's GPS off. So when you plug in your battery, you want to make sure that one's flipped up. The rest of them down. So record button down here for the video and the photo button down here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in now. I'm going to let the GPS load up and we'll go ahead and take off. Now I can see my video here in the monitor right in the middle of the transmitter. So now I can calibrate the compass, and you do that by picking it up. It's already in compass calibration mode, and you're going to do a rotation clockwise all the way around until you see green LEDs. When it stops flashing red, goes to green, you can tilt it down at the ground, face down, and go ahead and do a couple more rotations until it starts to flash white. You'll get pink and green in the back when it's complete, and your transmitter should say you're good. So I'll go ahead and set that down, and now I can go ahead and take off in GPS. When I take off in GPS, it'll be absolutely still. It should stay in one spot without me having to touch the transmitter. So here we go, let's do a takeoff. They're really a nice and smooth copter, very stable. There's a nice little wind shadow in here, so I can not get a whole lot of gust going on. We should get fairly stable video. I'm going to go ahead and press record. You press and hold the enter button for record. So now we're recording video. I'll go ahead and go up a little further. It looks really nice in the air. And I can see where I'm going and what I'm framing up with the transmitter. It's really nice. And right now I'm in GPS lock still. If you want to film and you want to do pans, the best way is to take GPS off so that you're continuously panning. So if I want to do a left pan, I want to get a nice pan of the bridge here. I want to go to the left, and it'll keep coasting left instead of stopping. The GPS won't hold it. You see the lights in the back. If you can see that on the video, they're now orange in the back. I'll go ahead and go back into GPS, and the lights go green and it brings it to a stop. So if you get into a panic situation, you can flip back into GPS and it'll stop the aircraft. So that's pretty cool. Oh, I can do a little selfie. And it's holding its position quite well. Come down just a little bit. You see me in the frame here. How's it going, guys? And in forward flight, I did notice that if you're using this for filming, when you're ascending or you're descending, you're going to get some kind of bouncy video with this because there is no stabilization on this copter. So keep that in mind. I'll go ahead and do some forward flight and I'll show you sort of what that looks like. I'll show you on the screen. We're still recording here. And I'll just fly over a little bit to the edge of the field. I'll turn around and come back. You can see it bounces. It's a little bit bumpy. It's not a stabilized video, but you know what? For the price point, you know, you can use a video stabilizer plug-in with your video editor and you can stabilize your video. So that's not a big deal. Now if you take off GPS and you fly with GPS off, it's going to tilt more toward the ground and give you a little more speed. It does say that this copter flies for 18 to 20 minutes. So I probably won't fly at 18 to 20 minutes for this review, but I will let you know down in the comments below how long I got out of this battery. But so far I really like the smooth characteristic, flying characteristic of this copter. It's really, really nice and smooth. If you're looking for something that you could use for a trainer, this is a great trainer. Or even something you could take out to the beach or travel with, because it's small enough to put in a bag. Got a nice shot of the buildings back there behind me. It's a little bit of wind, so if there is any mic disturbance, I do apologize about that. There's not a whole lot of interference on the video display. It's really nice. And you also have a couple other modes on here as well. You have headless mode and you have the follow me mode, which I'll try to show you some follow me footage. I've got my skateboard out today, so we'll try to get this to do some follow me with the skateboard. I'll go ahead and give it a little more stick and I'll show you how it flies a little faster. So one thing I did notice on this one, but I'm a pretty experienced pilot, that this one does have maybe a little bit of lag in the controller, but it's not bad. It's not something that's gonna completely turn you off to the copter, because it does fly really smooth. And if you want it to fly faster still, you can flip out of GPS mode and you can see the lights turn there, and I can fly even faster and a little smoother, I think, outside of the GPS holding us back. Now if I want to stop it, I can go ahead and press GPS again and it'll come to a stop, or a hover right where I let go of the stick. Now headless mode, the way headless mode works, headless mode is really nice if you're doing video and you want this thing to you want this copter to continue in the direction of the pan that you are working on. If you're working on a certain pan, there we go. So in headless mode, you're heading in a certain direction, you want to keep traveling that direction, you can use headless mode to continue onto that pan. So to get headless mode on, you flip the left switch up, and now it's going to continue in that trajectory. If I push the stick away from me, no matter which way the copter's facing, if I pull back, it's going to come back to the home point. So along that line that the copter was originally traveling. So that's pretty neat, that it's not going to deviate outside that line. And I go ahead and turn headless mode off. I'm not a huge fan of headless mode, but this copter flies really, really nice. I really do like the fact that I have all the telemetry here on the screen. I've got my battery voltage on the copter on the left. I've got my transmitter voltage on the right. You can see that my SD card's in. I've got a good SD card. And it shows you the mode that you're in right at the bottom of the screen. So you can see that you're in GPS hold. You take that off, it'll say altitude hold, but it won't have GPS hold. So that means it'll start drifting like I showed you before. I'll come down a little closer to the ground. Really does do a nice GPS lock. So let's go ahead and do a return to home real quick. The right button over here will activate return to home. If you flip the switch, make sure you're in GPS over here. Turn heading hold off, headless mode off. Go ahead and flip the switch up. It's the second switch over, by the way. And now you'll see it stop what it's doing, and it should start to fly back to our home point. We'll see how close it gets to the landing pad where we took off. It should get in about, come back in around a 30-foot radius around where your home point was, so pretty close. About, I'd say about 10 feet away from where I took off from. Not too bad.
Hey guys, welcome back into the studio. That was a lot of fun flying this one. When you're flying brushless motors, it is a definite upgrade to flying brushed. If you have some cheaper drones out there like the SEMAs and some of the sub $100 drones, you've noticed that they are brushed motors and they're not quite as efficient and powerful and smooth as the brushless motors. So having brushless motors on this copter is a huge advantage to some of the other cheaper drones out there. The X4 does come with GPS on there as well, as we demonstrated in the flight test. If you have GPS, you have return to home switch on this transmitter. This does help you if you get in a situation where you need to have it come back and land. The return home works in 3 different ways. One, if it goes out of range and it flies outside the frequency of your transmitter, it'll stop what it's doing, come back and land. If you get to a low battery percentage, low voltage protection kicks in and return to home automatically occurs. Or the third way that return to home works is if you flip the switch here on the transmitter to the up position. This is the second switch from the right into the up position. I have that labeled here on the transmitter. As well, I have my follow me on the right side labeled on and off here. You might want to do this on your transmitter because I have a hard time remembering all these switches once I get out to the field and start flying. The copter will behave erratically if you don't have the right switches enabled. So headless mode, I have that on and off here as well. Down for off, on for up. GPS mode, on for up and down for off. Will put you in attitude mode and it will take off your GPS lock. Now, having GPS lock on this setup is a huge advantage for guys that are trying to do aerial photography. If you want to frame up a certain shot, it's a lot easier to hold your position and then snap your photo using the photo button if you have GPS hold for those more complicated shots. Now if you want to shoot video and you want to do a nice smooth pan to the left or right, take GPS off. That way GPS hold is not going to try to keep stopping it in the middle of your video pan. That makes a big difference when you're filming. And like I said, I like these silicone covers on top of the transmitter sticks. It kind of has a nice grippy feel to it. A little nicer than that stick itself. The transmitter is a huge upgrade, like I said, guys, from the previous version of this. This looks a little more streamlined, a little more compact. It does take up to 8 AA batteries back here in this section here, but the cool thing is that it does come with a JST on here. So what I did was I put a 3S LiPo in here. I had a small 850 milliamp LiPo that I put inside the battery compartment. So now I can recharge that and I don't have to worry about putting AA's in there, because this video screen will drain out your AA's pretty quickly. Does also come with a USB cable, and that's for your Hubsan firmware updates available from Hubsan on their website. This 2S 2700 milliamp battery, as you notice, I did put an XT60 on mine. You don't have to do that for yours. I just have a lot of leads for my charger, and this is kind of the universal plug that I use. However, if you do this, it's going to make it a little more difficult to close that back door, that back hatch. You can still get it in there, but with the smaller connector that it comes with, a little blue one, the EC3, you can get it in that hatch a little easier. I was getting up to 15 minutes flight time out of my battery. I do have a second battery as well, so go ahead and look down in the link below for the link for this battery and order yourself two, because when you go out to fly, just one battery is never enough. Now the copter itself is really sleek. The way this is designed, it's exactly like the other one that we showed you on this channel previously, except this one I decided to go for the black and gold edition. Either one of these copters, the white and gold edition or the black, they're both exactly the same in design, just different color. And you have your LEDs on the bottom here with this sort of semi-transparent plastic landing gear. The camera is a fixed position camera, so like I said, guys, you're not going to get stabilized video out of this, and the follow me seems to work better in a straight line. By the way, if you're doing follow me and you do curves with this, the camera's trying to adjust and the copter is trying to adjust to the trajectory where you're at, so you're going to get some kind of wobbling out of the copter when it's turning, and since it's not a stabilized gimbal, you're going to have some pretty wobbly video trying to follow yourself if you're doing curves. Now if you're going in a straight line, this thing does a lot better, as you'll see in some of the video, or as you saw earlier. So the follow me is not 100% perfect on it, but then again, it's not a stabilized gimbal on here, and it didn't cost $1,000 for this copter. So under $500, under $300 exactly, is a great deal for something that has follow me on here. So I did notice that the transmitter doesn't like to stand up very well. It has a little curve on the bottom here, and the bottom of these grips are a little bit rounded, so kind of have to lean it up against something. And I did want to mention that this screen it's a little hard to see. You have to kind of hold it up close to your face when you're flying it, so that you can see some of your telemetry up in here. But you can program this to do manual flying, which means no stabilization whatsoever, and you can do flips and stuff with it, and that's available inside the transmitter. Very easy to get to. To access the menus in here, you're going to push the enter button, and you're going to hold down the throttle stick, push the enter button, and that'll bring you right into your menu. So now you can use the up and down arrows here, and you can go set the sensitivity on here. You can change it to manual mode. You can go to expert mode, it's selected on yes as a default, and you can change your stick mode from 1 to 2. You can also change your video frequency in 5.8, so if you have some issues with your video, you have an interference, you can go in here and change your frequency. We can also show the version that's running on the copter currently. I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of there. And down bottom, guys, it does show you your mode, flight mode that you're in. It also shows you your longitude and latitude of your copter's current position, which comes in handy when you're way out there. If you have a crash, go ahead and write down those longitude and latitude coordinates, and you might be able to actually go out and find your copter within a few meters. So that's a very, very nice feature that they have on there. And press, hold, and record. To record, I believe it's hold 1 second on that, and on the exit button is going to be your photo button. And again, I have everything labeled. It just helps me when I'm out in the field. But overall, very nice transmitter. The T1 and the T2 dials on the top left and the top right, those do not work on this copter because we don't have a stabilized gimbal. So those are kind of dummy buttons for us. But if we had the gimbal version, those two would work to turn your camera up and down. So that's about it. The battery takes around a couple hours to charge, so that's why I put this XT60 connector on here, so I could do a fast charge on my regular charger. But overall, I've got to say this is a really slick design. It's a nice upgrade to what we had before. The H501S is definitely a really nice value for the money. So flies very, very smooth in the air. The return to home worked really, really well. The follow me mode is okay. It's exceptional. That it's acceptable that it does follow me. I'm not going to say it's outstanding, but it does work. Also, one last thing. Wanted to mention this patch up here. This really provides a lot of clear and precise video without a lot of lines and disturbance. So this is a major upgrade from the old transmitter. You'll see a lot of the pro pilots using patches on their antennas for video signals, and so this is very, very awesome from Hubsan to include that. And that's going to be it for our review of the Hubsan X4. This is the H501S. This is the advanced model, by the way, guys. Under 300 bucks. Again, not a bad deal. You can check that out in the link below. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. I had a lot of fun flying this one. One of my favorites this year. Not 100% sure if I'm going to sell this one or not, but you can check out the link below if you'd like to grab one yourself. I'm Justin Davis from Drone Camps RC. I'll see you on the next one.